Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
I gave away $1 million to complete strangers, and here's the craziest part, maybe the worst part, or the saddest part. They didn't take it. Hey everybody, Joe Simons, Like Diamonds, back again. Salt Strong Church. It's going to be a fun one. This is going to be about money, and I'm talking about money tension, and I'm talking about money decisions and the speed of money, the velocity of money. And the reason I'm doing it, it's still the beginning of the year. I love chatting with friends, even some Salt Strong members that I get to talk to, and even employees. And, you know, a lot of the goals I hear about this year around money, and it makes sense. There's a lot of tension around money right now. Inflation's high. Everything just seems more expensive. No matter how much money you have, it is undeniable that things are just more expensive. It is obnoxious what it costs to feed our family. I mean, thousands of dollars every single month just to feed our family of five. And we're not going out. We rarely, if ever, go out as a family, and we have the means to do it, still choose not to. But even shopping at Publix, or even if you're doing the Walmart delivery, which is a little bit cheaper than Publix, it's still crazy what it costs just to do the day-to-day life. I mean, you guys are seeing your electricity bill. If you have Tico like us, it just seems like things just keep getting higher and higher, and we don't really understand why. Of course, there are some dynamics at play behind the scenes, but that's not the point of this podcast. I am going to share a true story where I did give at least $1 million away right there on my kitchen counter, and it was not taken by anyone. It was there completely for free. But first, let's just talk about money in general. And it is a biblical principle. And there are many places, especially in Proverbs, that is something that it's probably been my favorite thing to read because I can relate to it. And there's always usually some sort of key message or takeaway for the day. And many times, things that I'm actually thinking about and maybe on my mind or struggling with. And so if you don't know, I still try to read the Bible every year, and it's just that once a year or once a day Bible. So if you read essentially 12 to 15 minutes every day, you can do it in the bathroom. You can do it, probably have an audio version these days, do it on the way to work. But it makes it easy. It's in bite-sized chunks because let's be honest, unless you're a biblical scholar, it could be kind of boring in some cases, and sometimes just tough to even understand. And you feel like, man, what's going on here? Where I really love how they break it up, where it's, you got a section or a small piece from the Old Testament, New Testament, and Proverbs and Psalms, and kind of it, boom, you're done for the day. And in Proverbs, many places, they talk about money, talk about waking up early. Don't slumber is a word that is used multiple times in Proverbs, aka don't be lazy. Poor people, and this is from the Bible. I mean, they're never born to be stuck, and they're never born to be poor just because your parents were poor. And obviously, society has proven that over and over and over and over again. The economic level that any of us find ourselves as an older adult is really on us and our choices. It's not from our parents. Sure, your parents can set you back a little bit if you were born with nothing. But then again, I could argue I've seen some people that were born with nothing and even lost parents and just had more of a drive because of that. It was almost like they had an advantage over people who had a lot and were just kind of wasteful and just never really thought much of it, and never really learned how to earn money themselves. But all that being said, you tell that to someone who's born poor versus someone rich, I think most people would prefer to be born into a wealthier family, but that doesn't always mean it's a good thing. Luke and I started Salt Strong. We had some cash. We just sold a company, not for a lot of money, but for enough where it gave us a little bit of buffer. And guess what? We weren't really that driven to create a good business that first year because we had that little buffer. And it wasn't until the buffer ran out, we literally ran out of money, like down to zero. That was when our backs were against the wall and we found a way to turn Salt Strong into a real business. I have seen that with my own eyes, even though Once again, tough to argue with someone who wouldn't say, I'd rather be born into a super wealthy family. But all that being said, going back to the biblical aspect of it, start, even if you struggle with other parts of the Bible, the Old Testament or New Testament, start reading those Proverbs. Just do Proverbs every day. And I mean, there is just some amazing, and Psalms too. I mean, just those two alone, you'll I don't know, you'll have some great takeaways. You come out as a better person. There are so many little nuggets in there, but over and over again, there are little breadcrumbs, if you will, little nuggets about not being lazy. Don't slumber. Don't sleep in. Don't get fat and lazy. Till the fields. Work hard. Wake up early. It talks about profit. It even talks about being profitable. The Lord wants us to be profitable. So don't ever think that all money's a bad thing. I think a lot of people just struggle with it, that, it leads to corruption. And yes, it can. Doesn't always, or that it leads to bad things and leads to you being a worse person. It could. I still think, you need to be generous and kind of be who you were at the core. That's when it gets bad, when people just obsess and put money as their God. That's when you get into trouble. But usually God finds ways to keep you honest about that, right? I mean, you see it time and time again with people who have put money as their God, and all of a sudden God or the real God finds a way to bring them down, and makes them a little bit more humble. Here's a quote I love, and I don't know who said this, but it's something that always stuck with me, and it's really kind of a prayer, and it's, God, don't give me so much that I don't need you, but also not so little that I don't have to rob others. I'm going to repeat that. God, don't give me so much that I don't need you anymore, but also not so little that I don't have to rob others. Basically saying, God, give me enough to be able to thrive and to be able to benefit others and to help other people, to take care of my family, to put a roof over my head, to have some fun. But at the same point, don't make it so much where I don't need you and I get you out of my life. On the flip side, don't make me so poor I'm having to rob and steal and sleep on the streets. So let's get back into the headline, because you guys are probably all wondering, how did Joe give away $1 million? So I teased it on a prior podcast that we are in the process of moving, doing complete demo of the house. Lauren and I, bought this property. It's been exactly 5 years ago. And it is our dream property, meaning it's quite a few acres. It's got beautiful southern magnolias lined on the driveway. It's like an eighth of a mile, of a driveway. So it's a legit driveway, not just one you can park a couple cars, park 30 cars on this sucker. And it's just beautiful magnolias the whole way down, then a huge oak in the middle, and it's on the lake. I mean, it is, in my opinion, breathtaking. Most people who come over like, man, this is a beautiful lot. And then I see the house, like the inside, like, yeah, it needs a little bit of love. About 60 years old, everything's original. Like I imagine like 60-year-old or 55-year-old Formica countertops that were pink. We have painted over them. The bathrooms are original. Obviously the toilets have been replaced over the 55 plus years. Some of the appliances some haven't. I mean, there's one oven, GE, you make great ovens. That's still the original. I'm talking like old school, has hard buttons that you have to like punch in, like those punch in buttons. It's amazing. And it had two ovens, upper and a lower, and one did give out, but one's still working to this day. All that being said, we're gutting the entire thing. It's all gone. And so we're in a rental. I'm recording this for my first podcast in this rental home that's kind of down the street, so we can kind of get back and forth. And I know we'll have a lot of decisions to make with the builder and all the different contractors going to be coming in. It's going to be a year project, but we had to get rid of a lot of stuff. And when you have a family of 5, for any of you guys who have moved or had an estate sale, if a family member or parent died, you realize just how much stuff we as humans tend to collect and accumulate, and it's mind-blowing. And we moved into a rental that was actually already furnished, so that made it even tougher because there was nowhere to store stuff, meaning it was like fully furnished. Closets are full. There's already beds. There's already sheets. There's already towels. everything we needed to live like comfortably was already here. And so that put us in a unique situation where we got a family of 5, we got a lot of stuff, and we don't really need all of it. And there are some things that we want to take into this new and improved house of ours on the same property. And there's some things that we don't. And there's a lot of stuff we gave away to some churches, some just people in need that we knew. And there's a lot of things that we just wanted to sell. And we realized there's no way we're going to be able to Facebook Marketplace all this stuff. We got a decent sized house with a family of 5. There's just a ton of things. And so we had this estate sale. This is where it gets interesting, where I gave away $1 million. So one of the many things that we had there at the estate sale was all of my audiobooks. And these are the audiobooks that I can attribute to making way over $1 million, maybe $3 or $4 million over, my lifetime. These are audiobooks like Think and Grow Rich and How to Win Friends and Influence People. A couple of Tony Robbins audiobooks. So they're all on CDs or DVDs, whatever. You can, plug them in. There's still most cars that aren't completely new, but you can always find a way to listen to these things. And I decided to put them right there in the middle of the kitchen where everyone had to go through in a box with a big sign that says free. And so it was almost kind of a test to see what would happen. Because had I seen those at a garage sale or something, I would have paid money for them because I know what it did in my life. I know the people I've shared it with, and some of you read some of those books. It's like, man, yeah, that was a game changer for me. And, Salt Strong wasn't profitable. We were losing money for those first couple of years. And it was some of those books that helped change the entire trajectory of the company that did get us, quote unquote, wealthy. That really did change our life. And I have made now, many millions of dollars over my career, not even at Salt Strong, even prior to that. But these books had a massive, massive impact on my life and our family's life and our finances, et cetera. And so I'm literally giving these away. And here's the interesting part. No one took them. A couple people kind of shuffled through them and looked at them because they saw free and still didn't take it. And there was other things for free that we had there. And every single other thing, 100% of everything on the free counter space. So imagine this big counter space on the kitchen that had a huge sign that said free. And there was spatulas and just random stuff that we didn't want to sell as a one-off. 100% of it was taken for free, which is what the sign said, except all of these audiobooks. Not one was taken. And they were all free, not one. And here's the really interesting part. So I was there almost like a fly on the wall. I had our good friend Brian, who loves doing garage sales and he loves negotiating. He kind of took charge on the whole thing. So I was there to help him answer some questions and help move a few things. But I'm hearing these conversations with all sorts of different people coming in there. But the overarching theme was that the majority of people there were living month to month. And I heard conversations like that of, husbands and wives saying, well, we can't afford this. We're going to have to, we're not going to have enough money for this month. One guy that, he saw me with a chainsaw that I was moving and he's like, man, how'd you get this gig? And I go, what gig? And he's like, to do all the yard work here, man. He's like, this is a beautiful property. You must be doing well on this. I was like, oh, I hate to say it, but I'm the owner. And he was embarrassed. He's like, oh man, I'm sorry. He's like, I saw you with the chainsaw and you look young. I thought maybe you were the yard guy. And he goes, I do yard work. That's why I was wondering. And I started chatting up with him, really nice guy. And it turns out, he was there, buying, in my opinion, because I saw what he was buying, stuff he did not need. It was not essentials. And it was the night of the day of the Super Bowl that I'm having that conversation with him that Sunday afternoon. And I was like, hey man, you watching the Super Bowl tonight? He's like, oh no, I got to work my second job. I'm delivering pizzas at night. That is not a knock on someone delivering pizzas, but this gentleman I'm 47. He was quite a bit older than me, is all I will say, meaning he has not saved any money. And still here at a garage sale, buying stuff, in my opinion, he didn't need. And he was one of many that had the opportunity to take all of those DVDs. And I saw his car and it had a DVD player in it, or a CD player in it. I'm sorry. He could have popped those things in. And especially, I'm not picking on this guy. This is just life in general. especially someone who told me his other job is literally driving it around in a car all night. I mean, he could have had an aha moment in one of not many of those different audiobooks, just like I did, and many millions of others who have listened to the Tony Robbins of the world, and all the different authors who have written some of these. The Jim Rome was in there, all the Napoleon Hills, all those books in there. Just priceless in my opinion. And he passed it up and was, going to miss the Super Bowl that night. Couldn't even be at home with his family because he had to work the second job delivering pizzas. And here's, I think, the biggest issue. And I struggle with this because I always like to put something in here that knocks me down. We all want it too fast. And that was probably my biggest struggle with Salt Strong. I had made really good money at a young age, kind of spent it all, got married. My wife had a crazy amount of student debt. I mean, multiple six figures, paid that off. So, I mean, basically went debt free, but we're renting a home. So didn't really have any true assets. Started Salt Strong after selling a company where we now had some assets again, put all those assets in it, burn it down to zero. So I went from these like a roller coaster. And I got to tell you, when we were growing Salt Strong, I wanted it to grow so fast. I think we all do. We all want, no one wanted to listen to those CDs because it takes time and then you got to go implement it. We all want that lottery ticket. We can just scratch something off and boom, $1 million is in our account. That is the problem. We all want it way too fast. But here's the truth. Real growth takes time, regardless of what you're doing. I had a conversation with my daughter on the way back from the travel soccer practice. She's just not excelling in maybe as good as some of these other girls. And I said, well, honey, I told her the same thing. I was like, the growth in anything, including soccer, it takes some time. And it's like, what I know about some of these other girls on your team that you're comparing yourself against, which is fine with her. I mean, at some point you're playing against teammates. You need to know where you kind of stand. I still believe you're still competing against yourself in your own skills, but either way, it's natural for us to do that. I said, here's what I do know is I know a lot of their parents. I'm friends with them on Facebook. I see their updates, and your other teammates are playing soccer, even in other leagues, and they're coming home and kicking with their parents or their siblings. I was like, I'm not seeing you take those extra steps because once again, my daughter just wants I show up at practice and I work hard, but like, yeah, champions do more and real growth takes some time. Another interesting one, I'll give my buddy Don a shout out. I know he listens to most all these podcasts. So Don gave me this tangerine tree at least two plus years ago. And so I planted it in our yard. It's still there. It's finally starting to get a little some blossoms, and actually had a real tangerine this right before this winter storm that I don't think killed it. It actually still looks good. Here's the craziest part. Not a single person in my own family, because I didn't tell them about it. I just planted it over there. And this is something you have to pass by this to exit our house, like exit that long driveway. You have to pass it. And it's right there. Not a single person in my family noticed it. Didn't even notice it was there until what? Can you guess? Until it produced that first piece of fruit. All of a sudden, like, whoa, there's a little tangerine there. I didn't know that. My wife's like, I didn't even know this was here. My kid's like, this is awesome. How long has this been here? But think about that. This is real life, guys. Think about this. No one noticed this thing growing. What did I say earlier? Real growth takes time. This has been growing in the soil for 2+ years, and no one noticed it. Very similar to what Luke and I did at Salt Strong. No one was even noticing us those first couple years. We were just grinding every day, 10, 12 hours a day. No one noticed us until all of a sudden it started bearing some fruit. And it's the same with these very valuable CDs that I was trying to give away. It takes some time. And notice, no one is going to notice that you've even changed, not one iota, for quite some time. And I think that's the thing that bothers us the most. It bothers me. It's tough. But when you look back and you have done those steps, those hard things of, consistently reading the books and waking up early and toiling toiling the soil, getting your hands dirty and doing stuff day after day is a compounding effect. And all of a sudden, people start noticing, wow, look at that person. I never even noticed them before. Look at this business. I never noticed it before. Look what they're doing in their job. This is not about owning your own business. It's about just being successful in life and moving up in life, regardless of what you're doing. Man, look how they're just beaming. Look at the energy they have. This doesn't just have to be around money, but in general, this real growth to become a better version of ourselves, it takes some time. And it hit me so hard, the correlation on this little tangerine tree, that as soon as it produced fruit, because that's what we want to produce fruit, right? And that is a biblical term as well. As soon as it started producing some sort of fruit, it's the first time my own family noticed it. Not a single person had ever even taken notice of this little tree that had been sitting there growing, just doing its thing, getting some sunshine, getting some water every day for 2 years. And it finally gets one little piece of fruit. And all of a sudden, everyone's seeing it and celebrating and thinking how cool it is. But it takes some time. The growth takes time. The real growth takes time. So my encouragement to all of you is, if you're not getting there as fast as you want, that is completely normal. It took, Luke and I 8 years with Saltstrom before we really started generating money. Where was a business owner, they call it distributions. We had a salary, but it was honestly small. I mean, I had employees who made way more than Luke and I did throughout the entire course of Salt Strong. But it wasn't until that year 7, really getting the year 8, that we really started taking true distributions, and obviously sold the company to the point, we can gut our entire house and be able to afford a rental for a year without really stressing out too much about the stuff. But all that took, let's just call it a decade. It was officially a decade after we sold it. And that was just a lot. It was a lot of work, but in the big scheme of things, looking back, that was so much fun. Man, I had a blast doing it with my brother and just all the amazing people we met, and we're still doing it. That's even the cooler part, is we kind of structure our own deal. But even if you're an employee, I was an employee for the first 10 years of my life, and it was the same thing. I read like crazy, and a lot of my I'll call my competitors in the sales field they're all like, man, what is he doing? They were literally calling me a cheater because I just kept beating him every month. And I was going home and I was reading. I was investing in myself. I was taking courses. I read books like that nonstop. I went to the Tony Robbins, Brandon Burchard, all these different events, these mastermind groups where I'd pay $1,000, $2,000 to be in a room with other good people. And no one noticed it. When I came home, no one noticed that I had changed at all, because I hadn't. I had learned a little bit more, but I had to go implement all that stuff. So, the real growth takes some time. The beauty of today, because when I was doing this, yes, there was the internet, but and there YouTube was there, but it wasn't like it is today. But now with ChatGPT and YouTube, you can learn almost any skill out there. And with the books, now audiobooks right there on your phone, you can listen to them as you're driving, sync it up with your car. If you have an older car that has a CD player, you can pop one of those in. I'm going to donate them to the library. So anyone who wants these, they'll be at the Winter Haven Library later this week. I'm just going to donate them there, and hopefully someone will get some use out of them. But yeah, you can learn any skill you want. Like, for instance, with ChatGPT, let's just say you wanted to learn how to build websites. You could tell ChatGPT, hey, I'm whatever your age is, I'm a 47-year-old who knows nothing about websites. You kind of tell them who you are. I want you to create me a 10-week course, video-based only, where I learn to go from being a complete newbie to an advanced pro on building websites, and go. And it'll do it. It'll literally build you a course and say, I only want to spend 30 minutes every 4 days. You can get as specific as you want, and it'll go find the videos for you and literally build you a course, a curriculum on how to be the best or even become good or even an expert at anything you could possibly imagine. It is mind-blowing. And yet so many people don't take advantage of things like that or free audiobooks. Once again, now they'll be at the public library, all these cool resources. And the reason is it's that tension of time that we all want it so fast that we end up becoming just, I'm going to use the word lazy, which in the Bible says we should not be lazy. We should not slumber. Don't sleep in. Don't be lazy. Go toil the fields and have a harvest. Reap it. But the only way to have a harvest and the only way to reap the benefits of a harvest is to work hard. You have to toil the field. You have to do some work for quite some time usually, because real growth take time. Well, I hope this was helpful. Hope it hit the right person. And if maybe you are already successful where you want to be, share this with someone else. If you have someone in your life or you know someone from your community, your church, whatever, that maybe is just struggling and maybe money is important to them and they're struggling with it. And you know they have that drive to do it and just don't really, maybe just don't have the guidance or just need to hear it from someone else. I love for you to forward this on to them. I love creating these things. And this is something that I'm going to have my kids listen to. Because it is so important. And I think this day and age, we have been, I think, in my opinion, kind of blindsided. It happens so fast because growing up, if you're my age or older, you know, this whole fast wasn't a thing. You know, fast food was around, but even then it was essentially McDonald's and Burger King and maybe Wendy's. And now it's just everything like fast internet. And you got these kids who are calling 911, young kids, when the internet goes out at their house, if they're home alone. No lie, because they just assume that that's something you have to have. And if it's not fast internet, oh my gosh. And I mean, I was on the plane back from Minneapolis and the people in front were complaining about their Wi-Fi. They're like, well, we want a refund. I'm like, well, what is going on? This is a perk. This is not a privilege to have Wi-Fi, fast Wi-Fi on every seat and every plane. This is mind-boggling. So slow down and know that real growth does take some time. Love you guys. Hit me up if you have any questions or thoughts. If you like this episode, please share it, subscribe, leave me a review. That helps big time for this to get found, more and more people to hear it. My private email, joe@saltstrong.com. Talk to you soon.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul.